Ladies and gentlemen, grab your popcorn and prepare for another thrilling episode of Political Peculiarities, brought to you by the Senate's greatest hits. In this latest installment, Senate leaders have unveiled a long-awaited comprehensive border security bill with a twist that's sure to leave you scratching your head. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us to spread out conservative news the mainstream is too afraid to report on. Our story unfolds with Senators James Lankford, Krysten Sinema, and Chris Murphy gathering together in the hallowed halls of Capitol Hill. They've been engaged in months of negotiations with the Biden regime, aiming to tackle the double whammy of the border crisis and international aid commitments. It's a bit like trying to juggle flaming bowling pins while riding a unicycle. Entertaining to watch, but a recipe for disaster. The star of our show is a 370-page epic, lovingly crafted by Senator Patty Murray, chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee. She insists that it's the result of weeks of good faith negotiations, striking a delicate balance between domestic concerns and the urgent need to send foreign aid galore. And who's the lucky recipient of this windfall? None other than Ukraine, currently dealing with Putin's not-so-friendly visit. They're getting a whopping $60.6 billion to fend off Russia's advances. Meanwhile, back on American soil, our border security is earmarked to receive a paltry $20.23 billion. You read that right, folks. Ukraine's problems apparently trump, pun intended, our own. This funding discrepancy has raised more eyebrows than a magician pulling rabbits out of a hat. People are wondering where the Senate's priorities lie when we have a domestic border security crisis of our own. Senator Murray lists the highlights of this grand financial extravaganza, and boy, is it a doozy. $14.1 billion for Israel because, they need a little extra security. $2.44 billion for operations in the U.S. Central Command and addressing Red Sea conflicts because who doesn't love a good maritime showdown? $10 billion for humanitarian aid to various conflict zones because nothing says good neighbor like sending some food, water, and shelter to people who aren't even in our neighborhood. $4.83 billion to deter aggression from the Chinese government because, that's been working so well lately. $2.33 billion for Ukrainians displaced by Putin's war of aggression. We're basically saying, sorry you're stuck in a war zone, here's a couple of billion. And the pièce de resistance, the bipartisan border policy changes, clocking in at a hefty $20.23 billion. But wait, there's more. RINO Senator James Lankford chimes in with his 2 cents, lamenting the state of our border. He claims that over the last 4 months, we've had record-breaking illegal border crossings, with December hitting a U.S. record of over 300,000 illegal crossings. It's like a line of people forming at the world's worst amusement park, and everyone gets a work permit as their ticket. Lankford insists, even if President Biden will not admit it, this is a crisis. We must secure our border now. It cannot wait any longer. But don't worry, folks, because Lankford's got a solution. They've crafted a border security bill that's so beefed up, it could make Arnold Schwarzenegger blush. It includes everything from more border walls to detention beds and deportation flights. It's the catch and release to detain and deport makeover America never knew it needed. And if you thought that was the grand finale, think again. The bill also grants the Secretary of Homeland Security the power of Border Emergency Authority. If you're wondering what that means, well, it's like giving your neighbor the power to shut down your barbecue when it gets a little too rowdy. There are specific conditions for activating this authority, including a magic number of encounters at the border. If it exceeds 8,500 people in a single day, it's panic time. But hey, let's not forget the asterisk at the bottom. Unaccompanied minors from non-contiguous countries don't count, because when it comes to bureaucracy, kids are always exempt. Now, dear readers, isn't this a riveting tale of political maneuvering and financial acrobatics? It's a bit like watching a circus act performed on a tightrope made of spaghetti. Stay tuned for the next episode of Political Peculiarities, where anything is possible, and the budget numbers are as flexible as a contortionist in a rubber suit.